Bulletcast for life.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Under the Radar. My name is Brandon Tanguma, and on today's episode we're going to look into some WWE news, as well as an update to the Double or Nothing card, as well as the NXT TV report, and Miz and Mrs. to close off the show. And let's begin with that Double or Nothing update. The newest episode of Being the Elite dropped on Monday. One of the better episodes they've had in a while, I might say. The opening segment was very funny, and it also forwarded a lot of storylines and a lot of things going towards Double or Nothing, as we will talk about right here. So we have Angelico, and Evans joining the AEW roster, and the Best Friends are going to be facing them in tag team action on Double or Nothing. The whole storyline here is that the Best Friends did not want to be in the Casino Battle Royal. They wanted something bigger. They wanted to be on the main card, and they threatened their families, the Young Bucks families, and they finally got what they wanted. So now we're going to get Angelico, I'm going to butcher that name until I probably hear it properly announced on Double or Nothing. But him and Evans are going to take on the Best Friends, so that should be a good matchup, as you can probably tell, because I can't pronounce his name correctly. I don't know who these other guys are. I like the Best Friends. They're a good comedy tag team. They can also wrestle very well. So that should be a fun matchup to see. And we have another tag team match. This time a 6-woman tag team match. And all these women are coming over from Japan. And it is going to be Aja Kong, Sakazaki, and hold on. I just completely messed up where the thingy was. And it's just the thumbnail. I could have just looked at the graphic there. So we have Aja Kong, Yuka Sakazaki, and Emi Sakura going up against Hikaru Shida, Ryo, and Ryo Mizunami. And 6-woman tag team action. As you can tell by me butchering their names, I don't know these women. I do know of Aja Kong, a legend in women's wrestling. So that should be another fun match, and just kind of rounding out the card. It looks as though it's a pretty full card. I wouldn't be surprised maybe they add one more match, but I think as of this moment they have a lot of matches, and hopefully they don't run into the same thing as All In, to where the top matches run a little long, or at least the undercard runs a little long, and that hurts the main event matches and the ones people normally care about. So it is kind of like All In. A lot of these matches don't have a lot of storyline backing behind them, but the top tier matches are going to carry the, it doesn't matter that there's not a strong story behind it. They're going to have a good work rate to them. So first off, on the pre-show, we have Sammy Guevara and Kip Sabian going one-on-one in the pre-show. And then we have the Casino Battle Royal, and the winner will get a title shot for the AEW, or against the AEW champion. Not exactly sure if that means they're going to be the first one to be the first one to get an opportunity at it, or if they're just going to get a shot down the line. And now moving on to the main show, we have Best Friends against Angelico and Jack Evans. And then we have the 6-woman tag team match we just talked about. Then we have some of the more... Now we're getting into the matches that were kind of announced earlier on at the Double or Nothing ticket rally. So we have SoCal Uncensored with his Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky going up against the Strong Hearts, which is the OWE promotion, which is Sema, T-Hawk, and El Lindaman. That should be a fun little matchup there. SCU should be over. The OWE guys should be good workers. It should be, I'm not going to say a spot fest, but it's going to be a... interesting to see what those OWE guys have. And now we have the triple threat women's match with Dr. Britt Baker versus Nyla Rose and Kylie Ray. Once again, they've built it up a little bit. They had their little angle at the Double or Nothing rally a few months ago. Haven't really built anything up, but these are the three main women in AEW as of this moment, the top tier. As long as the Japanese women, if they come over, those women can also be in the mix. But I think right now those are especially Britt Baker. She's the most well-known name. If you're not going to include Brandy in the women's division, Britt Baker is definitely the biggest woman's name they have on the roster as of this moment. So now moving on, possibly people thinking that it could have been the AEW Championship match. Hangman Page, who a lot of people are saying should be the first AEW champion, going up against Pac. The whole storyline here is Pac is in great shape, and Hangman is trying to get strong. He's trying to get bigger and skinnier at the same time. He's doing the Full Gear Challenge, and it's going to be a big pop once Hangman takes off his clothes and we see how jacked he really is now. Should be a good match. We're going to do our predictions in full next week before Double or Nothing for the Bulletcast Championship. And we all know I'm going to still be champion coming out of Money in the Bank, and I'm going to retain it at Double or Nothing as well. Moving on, we have Cody against Dustin Rhodes, brother versus brother. Not much more to be said there. It was my promo pick last week or a few weeks ago was that Cody Rhodes promo he cut on his YouTube channel. Very good. They haven't done a whole lot recently, but as I said, I don't think there's not a lot you really need to do. It's brother versus brother. It kind of writes itself. And then we have the AAA Tag Team Championship match. The Young Bucks are the champions defending against the Lucha Bros, which is Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix. A lot of people saying this could possibly be the best match of the show. I'm going to have to agree with them. I think this is just the perfect mix of stars and youth and athleticism, and sometimes tag team matches can be better than singles matches just because there's more people involved and it can be a lot more action. Not saying that these other matches are going to be trash, but I just think this Young Bucks Lucha Bros match, they're trying to steal. I think they're going to try to go out there and tear the house down, especially at All In. The Young Bucks weren't exactly able to do what they wanted to do at All In because they ran into the time constraints. And finally, possibly the main event of the show. Who knows? It could be that Cody Dustin match. It could be the Young Bucks match. But maybe the biggest names on this show, which would make sense for why they main evented, would be Kenny Omega going up against Chris Jericho. They did an angle where Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega kind of ran in at an indie show in Georgia. The lone angle they've been doing here recently between these two, it does write itself. I do wish that there was more build up to this match, but we're just gonna have to wait till the fall when AEW has its TV show weekly, and then we're gonna get more of these matches that are gonna have a lot of build behind them, and I think that's where this company is gonna shine. Obviously, a lot of these matches are gonna be fantastic. Really looking forward to a Double or Nothing in Vegas. Only a week and a half away. It's crazy. I feels like it was just yesterday that it was January and they announced that this show is taking place, and now we're a week out. It's going to be a fun week. So now moving on to WWE news, and we have some breaking news. WWE has fined Lars Sullivan $100,000 and has sent him to sensitivity training for offensive message board posts that he has posted between 2007 and 2013. Many of them are sexist, racist, homophobic, as well as some numerous other offensive language that was being used. WWE announced and released a statement that they will be fining him $100,000, and they sent out this statement. WWE supports a culture of inclusion regardless of gender, race, religion, or sexual orientation, and we are committed to embracing all individuals and demonstrated by the diversity of our employees, performers, and fans worldwide. Dylan Miley, aka Lars Sullivan, will be fined $100,000 and required to complete sensitivity training for offensive commentary uncovered from his past. WWE will also facilitate meetings for Dylan with community organizations to foster further discussions around the power of social media and the impact of your words. We talked about this on the Bulletcast a few months ago, that Philip, honestly, he was the first ones that I heard people actually really talk about this, but I think it really gained more traction once Biggie and some of the other wrestlers acknowledged it and said they know, and if something happens maybe not they're going to take care of it, but they know what Lars has said. So this story has really picked up steam in the last week. And I think I said that he was young and he was kind of stupid, but I think now that I learned more about it, I mean, he was like in his mid-20s. I'm in my mid-20s. I'm 24 right now, and I would never post anything like that. I don't feel those hateful things that Lars Sullivan would say. I've never like said anything like that. I've never posted anything like that. So for him to say those things, I mean, it's one thing for like a 16-year-old, or I mean, it is one thing to be on the internet just because people are idiots and they try to troll and they say things. But Lars Sullivan, people know who he is in that company. They know how he acts. If he has done any questionable things in the past to maybe lead people to believe that he maybe still feels that way. I'm not saying that just because he doesn't show it doesn't mean he still doesn't feel those things in his soul. And it is just kind of ironic, I feel, that WWE is putting out this statement about how they have a culture of inclusion regardless of gender, race, religion, or sexual orientation. Despite they just announced yesterday that they are going back to Saudi Arabia and they're going to have Undertaker versus Goldberg. And Saudi Arabia is not a culture of inclusion that integrates gender, race, religion, and sexual orientation. All was that four of those. Whatever you like to call them, Saudi Arabia does not include, it's not nice to all genders, all races, religions, and sexual orientations. I'm just going to leave it at that. So WWE supports that culture, unless if you throw millions and millions and millions of dollars at them, then they'll just turn the other cheek. But no Lars Sullivan on this week's Raw. Who knows if he's going to be on SmackDown? It's the wild card rule. He is on SmackDown. He could have been on Raw. The wild card rule on Raw was not exactly very wild. It was Roman Reigns, who this wild card rule seemingly was invented for, and then Elias, but he's with Shane, so that doesn't really count, and then Apollo Crews, who honestly I did not even know he was on SmackDown. But moving forward, we have a official report. Someone officially reported to the Performance Center, and that would be DJ Zima Ion, whatever the hell you want to call him. He has officially reported to the Performance Center. WWE.com confirmed today that DJZ has signed with the company, noting that he reported to the Performance Center this week. In March, it was reported by PW Insider and confirmed by Dave Meltzer that DJZ signed with WWE and is headed to NXT. And DJZ announced on December 31st, 2018 that he was going to be a free agent for the first time in 7 years, starting at the beginning of 2019 at midnight. Quote, "At midnight tonight, I will be a free agent for the first time in 7 years. 2019 seems like the perfect time to be available for whatever new opportunities may come my way." I love DJZ. I think he's a really good wrestler when he was in Impact. I did like his character work. He was kind of, before he really became DJZ, he had that gruesome, life-threatening injury that he suffered in TNA, and I really liked they had like some promos of him at home, and he kind of talked about his family, his mom, I think he's Filipino, so like his heritage and stuff like that. And it would almost kind of remind me of the Apollo Crews stuff they did at NXT when Apollo Crews was challenging Finn Balor for the NXT championships. They really kind of delved into his character and his family life, and kind of like DJZ and Apollo, like they were just kind of guys that for them of just being great wrestlers, high flying, blah 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 blah, but you don't really think about them as their story and their background. I thought they did a really good job. So hopefully going forward, I think DJZ is a good addition for NXT. WWE, I mean, it is kind of an easy pick just to put him in 205 Live. With him going to NXT, I'm not going to sit here and say I think he's a main eventer by any means. I think he can be a solid mid-carder, maybe upper mid-carder. I mean, he can be kind of a guy who is a lovable guy. Maybe he's an annoying heel from time to time. I mean, if he's a lifer in NXT, I wouldn't be mad at that. I think he's a good guy. Maybe he could kind of like be the next generation Cassius Ohno, who's just always there. He's always kind of putting over the new guys. Maybe sometimes he gets a little bit of a push to give him some credibility, but then he just falls back down the totem pole. So good signing for WWE. Hopefully DJZ, everything works out for him down there. And going on to NXT, where we might see DJZ sooner rather than later, we have the NXT TV report from May 9th, 2019. As always, we have it taking place at Full Sail University with announcers Mauro Ranallo, Nigel McGuinness, and Percy Watson. And first, some reports coming out that Percy is leaving NXT to pursue some personal endeavors. And I'm kind of sad. I really liked what Percy Watson was been doing. He was kind of the bland, I mean, I'm not trying to sound mean or anything, but he was just kind of the black guy that they put in the commentator desk, have inclusion and everything like that. And he was almost kind of like Byron Saxon or David Otunga, where they're just kind of bland. They didn't really say anything. They just kind of walked the line. But I mean, all three of them have really improved in their commentary work. I wish kind of David Otunga would kind of come back and do some more commentary work. I did kind of like what he was doing. I think he was on SmackDown. I did like what he was doing on SmackDown. I think Byron, he has his moments where he's being Byron, but I think for the most part he's a good straight-laced babyface. Percy, I thought he was like worse than both of those guys when he started NXT, but I think now he's really found his groove, and I think Mauro, Nigel, and Percy all kind of had a good chemistry. They all kind of fit and knew what they were going to do. And now, on the last set of NXT tapings, I saw that Beth Phoenix was doing commentary for NXT, and maybe people were wondering, like, oh, maybe she's just doing a trial run. Some skeptics saying maybe this is them kicking Renee Young out, and they're just, getting Beth Phoenix ready to replace her because Dean Ambrose has left, and now Renee Young's going to be in the doghouse. But no, it seems as though Percy has left NXT. It is kind of sad. If they are going to go with Beth, she was fine in the Mae Young Classic, and I think she was in the Mae Young Classic. I don't exactly know, but she's a fine commentator. She does some kind of spot work on WWE from time to time. She's okay. If it was me, I know he's more of a heel commentator, but I love Steve Corino when he did his commentary for ROH and New Japan. I thought he was fantastic. I know it is kind of the same for him and Nigel McGuinness. I think Nigel could be a really good babyface commentator, so I think if you kind of turn Nigel, Nigel always kind of plays a tweener sometimes. Like he's kind of a face, but then he always can kind of lean more towards the heel side when he needs to. So if it was my pick, I know Carino's there down in NXT being a coach. I don't know what he wants to do. If he wants to, I assume he's there at the TV taping, so might as well just have him be there doing commentary. But if it is Beth, I'm fine with it. Hopefully, it is kind of like Percy, where she just gets better and better as time goes on. So now, first off, the first match of the show is Mia Yim versus Bianca Belair. They've teased this match for a while now, and Bianca Belair wins in 7 minutes and 37 seconds. I thought this was a good match. I thought it was a really good character match, if not to be like a backhanded compliment by any means, but Belair really played up her kind of cocky, arrogant attitude very nicely. She looked bored. She was kind of gloating, and at the very beginning, like both of them were just yapping the entire time. They were just trash talking. That's something like I kind of wish wrestlers would do more often to kind of see more realistic. I know when it's in an MMA fight, the guys aren't going to be taunting each other. I mean, maybe the Diaz brothers do that, and Conor McGregor does it, but not every single person does it. But I think it's kind of fits both their characters. That Belair and Yim would just be yapping at each other at the beginning, and it made a whole lot of sense. I mean, this was kind of a not a blood feud, but it definitely was getting very heated in the past couple weeks. And the finishing sequence was Belair was going for a sunset flip, and she was trying to hold onto the ropes to get leverage, but the referee told her to stop it, and then Yim kicked out, and Bianca Belair went back for the roll-up, and she hooked her long-ass ponytail onto the rope, yanked her hair for leverage. Maybe it didn't exactly look too realistic, but it worked, and she got the 3 count for the victory. And I thought it was a good match. I love Mia Yim. She's a good wrestler. Bianca Belair is steadily improving as a worker. She's definitely in the heel role as of this moment. A tainted victory, making you want to see Mia Yim and Bianca Belair wrestle again. So I thought that was a good move there. Moving on, we saw security footage of the Viking Raiders leaving the Performance Center after a workout. And Jackson Riker pulls up and blocks them off with a truck. And then Wesley Blake and Steve Cutler come out and attack them. And they just practically lay them out. And that was that. Just kind of a straightforward beatdown. I did kind of like the security footage angle of having, just kind of the found footage of this, not having just a random camera guy just happen to be filming somebody while they were walking away from the Performance Center. But I thought it was good. The War Raiders are going to appear next week, presumably to have a squash match, then address what happened this week. And now we go to the Performance Center again. Shayna Baszler was helping coach Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir. They were sparring. And then Io Shirai runs in from behind and attacks Baszler. And then Duke and Shafir run in to help her. And then various trainees, trainers, everyone that was in the Performance Center comes in to break it up. Let's see. It wasn't the best look for Io because she just kind of ran into an automatic 3-on-1 beatdown that you thought was going to happen, but it just kind of shows that Io is kind of crazy and kind of thinking off. She's not really thinking all that well. She's just kind of going off of emotion, and the first time she sees Baszler, she's going to want to attack her. So, going on, we have Raul Mendoza going up against Riddick Moss. Mendoza has some new ring gear, and good for him. He goes up to Moss. Riddick Moss having kind of a new gimmick, kind of a Simon Dean health guru type shtick. And you would have thunken that this was just going to be a squash match for Riddick Moss. Mendoza got in some offense, but in the end, Riddick Moss was going to win. But no, Moss tried to meet him, but Mendoza dodged, hit a springboard corkscrew splash, and Raul Mendoza gets the victory in 4 minutes and 42 seconds. I thought this was a good win for Mendoza. Maybe it was kind of obvious that we thought Riddick Moss was going to win. He kind of comes out, gets a new look. But no, Mendoza gets the win here. Good to see Riddick Moss healthy, though. He went down, I believe, with some sort of lower body injury, knee, leg, something like that. And so good to see him back healthy. And I think this is kind of a good first step for him. I don't know if this was just them kind of testing him, but Raul Mendoza, he gets that big victory. The crowd didn't exactly go crazy for Mendoza when he won, but they definitely were happy to see him win. And this is just kind of building up kind of your lower card, moving them up to somewhere in the mid-card area. So I thought it was a good, solid move. They do a recap of Kushida's debut from last week, and they say that he's going to be in action next week, which is this week on this Wednesday. And the main event is Matt Riddle versus Adam Cole. And Matt Riddle wins this match in 14 minutes, a long TV main event for NXT standards, and a very solid match. Riddle got a lot of offense, and you could have thought maybe Riddle was getting a lot of offense because they were going to protect Cole after losing, and they were going to have Riddle, get a lot of offense in, but then in the end he gets screwed over and he ends up losing. But no, that is not what happened. Riddle ends up getting the victory, and we get a run-in from Undisputed Era at the end, and this is kind of the finishing sequence. So if I can it's a long-ass, I'm just going to read the entire thing. So there's a lot of time to start off this match with the main event, giving the impression that this will likely have having something substantial after the match, according to the reporter. Middle with Riddle with a waistlock takedown that doesn't release. Riddle with the bromission, but Cole, okay, this is taking a long time. They bridge and blah, 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 blah. They trade strikes from their knees. They get to their feet. Riddle grabs Cole's face, then Cole stomps Riddle's foot. Riddle catches a boot, transitions to an ankle lock, then transitions into the bromission. Cole transitions to a cradle for a 2 count. Riddle with another trio of suplexes, but Cole turns the third into a shoulder breaker for 2. Cole is losing his mind. He's just wondering, what the hell do I got to do to beat this guy? And then Cole hits a kick to the knee. Another rapid-fire sequence of kicks and strikes. The last shot from Cole, but Riddle kicks out at the very last moment. Cole sells doubt and confusion. Cole drops his knee pad, but Riddle stops Cole. Then they trade knees. Riddle hits go to sleep power, and then hits go to sleep power bomb and a brutal knee to face. Cole rolls out of the ring. Roderick Strong appears to help Cole out, but Riddle kicks Strong. The referee is distracted by Strong. Cole hits a super kick to Riddle. Slow cover. Riddle reverses into the bro mission, and Cole gets the tap out win with the bro mission. And that's how the match concluded. After the match, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly appear to come out, and they kind of try to calm things over with Adam Cole and Roderick Strong. Riddle slips out the back door and lets the heels finish or talk about their problems. And after some replays, Cole slaps Strong's hand away. Fish and O'Reilly separate them. Fish and O'Reilly seem to take Strong's side, but they want to calm things down. Cole leaves the ring on one side with O'Reilly, and then Fish is with Strong as they go to the other side. Cole seems to blame Strong for the way that he's been losing his big matches lately. And that is how the show concluded. I thought it was a nice, strong ending sequence of having the camera very close up on Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, just because I thought it was a nice kind of way to kind of get in the mind of Adam Cole and really hear what he was saying and kind of getting his side of the story. I thought it was a really strong episode of NXT. Good, solid work to close out the show or to bookend the show rather, with the Mia Yim Bianca Belair match at the beginning and then the Cole Riddle match at the end. Not a whole lot of storyline development for the main event feuds. No, Gargano, no Velveteen Dream. They did some of that stuff last week, and they set up some stuff with the Viking Raiders. They talk about possibly something. They address their future is what I think they're going to talk about on this week's NXT TV show. So, good, solid match. Only 3 matches, but 2 of them were very long matches for a normal NXT show. And looking forward to next week with Kushida having another match. Obviously, the dissension of Undisputed Era is going to continue. Maybe something with Velveteen Dream. Maybe some more stuff with the women's division. Who knows? But moving on, lastly, we have the Miz and Mrs. report from last week. And this one, Miz is trying to learn French because Maryse speaks French. Obviously, her mother speaks French, and Maryse is going to teach French to Monroe Sky. So Monroe Sky is going to be a bilingual baby speaking English and French. So Miz wants to know how to speak French, so he doesn't have to get he doesn't have to have his 3-year-old daughter to translate everything for him. So he gets a tutor, a coach, whatever you want to call him, and Maryse is proud of him. She's happy, and she wants to help him learn French. And later, the next day, Maryse is being nice to Miz, makes breakfast, breaks down all the boxes, because as we've said in the past, Maryse loves online shopping, especially now that she has Monroe Sky, and she can't go out shopping all that often. So her and her mom break down the boxes, and Miz is very suspicious. He goes to the airport. Maryse drops him off. They have a long makeout sesh. He's very happy. Gets some blue balls before he leaves to go on the plane. He goes to the arena, opens up his luggage, finds a beautiful little bear, and it has a recording of Maryse's voice, and it's in French, and it says something. I forgot exactly what she said. And then the Miz is getting very suspicious at this point, and he has the ring or the security camera footage inside the room, and Maryse and Marjo just happen to be talking at this perfect spot, perfectly mic'd to where Miz can hear what she's saying. And Miz has a translating gimmick to where if he just says something into the microphone or whatever, it's not his phone, it's like an actual piece of equipment that translates French. And he found one word, and he thought that or he said the word, and it came out to be pregnant, and so the Miz is going crazy, thinking that they're having another baby. And this also plays into the fact that a lot of people watching this probably watch WWE on a regular basis, and they know that Miz and Mrs. is having another baby, so we're thinking, oh, this is where Miz is going to find out. It's going to be this beautiful ceremony. And he goes back. Maryse hasn't told him anything. She's still kind of being nice to him, and Miz goes to change Monroe, and he finds a bag with baby clothes in it, newborn baby clothes, not baby clothes for Monroe. a newborn baby. And now he's definitely convinced that Maryse is pregnant. And he goes to his parents, talks to them, and smartens them up. They go to a baby store and they buy some stuff. And Miz has the bright idea to throw a little shindig, not a shindig, but a little surprise celebration at a Mexican restaurant that they're going to. He hires a mariachi band. Mr. Miz and Mrs. Miz are there. And we all know where this is going. He goes, confetti's flying, mariachi band comes out, Mr. Miz Potato Face comes out with a big old cake, and Miz is like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so happy that you're pregnant. I'm so ready for another child. Oh my god, blah 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 blah." And then Maryse is just looking with this dumbass look on her face, like, "What the hell are you talking about, idiot? I'm not pregnant. Why would you think I'm pregnant?" And then Miz tries to explain himself, and there's a whole bunch of egg on his face because he heard the word pregnant when she was talking to whatchamacallit, to Maryse's mom. But it wasn't the word pregnant, it was the word ancient. And apparently it's like a very tiny little distinction between the two words and the two phrases. And the Miz messed up. And the reason why there was newborn baby clothes in the room was because Maryse's friend is having a baby in Montreal. And she never told Miz about it, so that's why she had newborn baby clothes. So yeah, Miz looked like an idiot. We all knew it was coming. But now later on down in the season, we're probably going to get the big reveal that she is pregnant, but just not at the moment, and it was kind of stupid. Why would Maryse hold out this information of her thinking or knowing she's pregnant for a few days and not telling her husband about it? But that's the magic of TV for you. And that'll do it for me for today. Thank y'all very much for listening. Just making sure, I'm going to go to the Google machine to see if I have any mailbag questions on Under the Radar. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's a no. It is a no. So if you want to be the very first emailer for Under the Radar, email me at UTRmailbag at gmail.com. That is UTRmailbag at gmail.com. Anything you want, wrestling, non-wrestling, sports, life, no Game of Thrones, because I do not watch Game of Thrones, so don't email me that. Or you can email me why I should watch Game of Thrones, and it's the best thing ever. Who knows? A new episode of Bulletcast dropping on Patreon on Wednesday. I'm not in charge of Patreon. This is free for all the people out there, so power to the people. I'm giving this away for free, and I don't know when exactly the regular episode or the free episode is dropping, but I don't know. Take it up with Philip. He's the head honcho around here. But until next time, next week, the episode before I leave for Vegas. Maybe going over my Vegas plans of everything I'm going to be doing there. We'll talk more about that next week. So thank y'all very much for tuning in. Goodbye and good night. Bang.